Hello, dear church. For many of us, we've just finished our first week of sheltering in place, though many of you have spent 2 or even 3 weeks with physical distancing. Let's admit, it's been a huge change, a disruption, and it's hard. But it also has given us sometimes perhaps to observe things and notice things we never had before. In this time, I want us to pay attention to the 2 readings that are coming up this Sunday, the 5th Sunday in Lent. One is from Ezekiel, and it's a story of the dry bones. In this story, the prophet stands before this desolate place of dust and dryness and death and sees no possibility for life. And then the Lord tells him to prophesy. And sure enough, sinews and flesh come upon the bones. Breath comes into them, and they stood on their feet and lived. So will we. In the Gospel according to John, we have the story of Lazarus who has died, and Jesus comes 4 days later when any hope of resuscitation is possible. But nevertheless, Jesus speaks to Lazarus, calls him out of the tomb, and then he says something very interesting. He says to the people, "Unbind him and let him go." Jesus will call us out, calls us out of the tomb, and he speaks to us saying to us, unbind the vast resources of our people and of the church in compassion and justice and generosity. That is the work we will do. We need now to plan for the future, even as we live in these days. I want us to remember several things. 3 are very practical. The first is, this disease is not a Chinese virus, nor is it the fault of the elderly. They are not the cause of this disease, they're casualties. We need to be very careful to guard the dignity and the safety of those of the Asian community and also our elderly. The second thing is we really need to give thanks and pray for the health and safety of our healthcare workers who are literally on the front lines. They're afraid they'll catch the disease and be separated from their families. That's true. Nevertheless, they show up day after day. And we should remember those other people who are considered essential resources, people we maybe overlooked in our daily lives. People who do deliveries, who work in the sanitation department, even folks who are bagging our groceries at the grocery store. They're fulfilling their vocation. And thirdly, we have to pay attention to the warnings and also the advice of medical professionals, scientists, and our local public officials. Sheltering in place seems the only way we have right now to slow this disease. Pay attention to them. But more important than anything, is that we have a God who is faithful, and through the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ has promised and has given us new life. Cling to that, celebrate that. Peace, be well.